The knock came before dawn, 3 sharp raps that split the quiet like a verdict. I was already awake. At 63, sleep doesn't come easily, especially when you're a widower sitting alone in the house you built with your own hands. The walls still smelled faintly of cedar and old coffee, the way they always had. The clock on the stove blinked 12 a.m., stubborn and tired like me. I remember thinking, this house knows me. It knew my footsteps, my habits, the places where grief still settled like dust. When I opened the door, my son stood there with his phone in his hand and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Dad," he said casually, as if he'd dropped by to borrow a wrench, "I sold your house." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because my mind refused to accept the words. They bounced off me like hail off a tin roof. "You what?" He exhaled through his nose, irritated, as though I'd asked him to repeat the weather. "I sold it. The market's great right now. Needed the money." "Needed it for what?" I asked, my voice already trembling, my fingers tightening around the duffrum. "For a vacation," he said. "Me and my wife, Maldives, 5-star resort, you should see the view." I felt the floor tilt beneath me, a slow, sickening sway. The porch light flickered, catching the edges of his face, the jaw I recognized, the eyes I raised. Somewhere deep inside, something tore. "That house," I said carefully, each word measured, "is in my name." He shrugged. You signed those papers years ago, remember? Power of attorney. After Mom died, you trusted me." Yes, I had trusted him. Trusted him the way a man trusts his only child when the world has already taken his wife. He checked his watch. "Anyway, you've got 1 day to pack. New owners take possession tomorrow." 1 day. 24 hours to erase a lifetime. My name is Oliver Grant. I raised that boy after his mother passed away when he was 16. I still remember the hospital hallway, the way the fluorescent lights hummed, the way his shoulders shook when the doctor said there was nothing more to be done. I worked double shifts after that, skipped meals, wore the same coat for 10 winters so he could go to college. I fixed this house brick by brick on weekends, blisters on my palms, hope in my chest. Every nail carried a promise. Every room held a memory. And now I was being evicted like a stranger. I didn't beg. Pride is a strange thing. It stiffens your spine even when your heart is breaking. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked. He shrugged again. "There's a shelter downtown, or a cheap motel. Look, Dad, you'll figure it out. You always do." Then he turned and walked away, already tapping on his phone, probably checking flight times or spa appointments. I closed the door and leaned against it as my legs gave out. My breath came in shallow pulls. The house was quiet, too quiet. Even the refrigerator seemed to hold its hum out of respect. I spent the morning packing a single suitcase. What does a life weigh? Turns out, not much. A few shirts, neatly folded, 2 pairs of pants, my wife's old scarf, still faintly smelling of lavender, a small wooden box with letters she'd written me when we were young and foolish and certain, a photo of my son at age 5, missing his front tooth, grinning like the world was kind. I paused in each room, letting the memories wash over me. The kitchen table where homework battles had been fought and won. The living room carpet where my wife had curled up with a book, glasses slipping down her nose. The hallway mirror where I barely recognized the man stepping back, older now, smaller somehow. By noon, a real estate agent arrived with the new owners. A young couple, hands intertwined, eyes bright with excitement that dulled when they saw me. They wouldn't meet my gaze. "I'll be gone by morning," I said quietly. They nodded, murmuring apologies they didn't mean. The agent avoided my eyes altogether. That afternoon, I sat on the porch swing, listening to the creak of chains, watching the sun slide across the yard. Every memory rose up to say goodbye. The first barbecue where half the burgers burned and nobody cared. The night my wife and I danced barefoot in the grass under a sky freckled with stars. The day my son learned to ride his bike and crashed straight into the fence, laughing through scraped knees. At dusk, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Mr. Oliver Grant, this is Sarah Clunn from Horizon Legal Services. Please call me immediately." The name tugged at something in my memory. Horizon. My wife had once mentioned it years ago, in passing, like a bookmark slipped into a book. I called. Mr. Grant, she said quickly, professionally, we've discovered irregularities in the sale of your property. Your son did not have the legal authority to sell the house outright. The power of attorney expired 3 years ago. My heart slammed against my ribs. What does that mean? It means the sale is invalid, and there's more. She paused, choosing her words carefully. The buyer wired the funds this morning. They're frozen pending investigation. Your son used falsified documents. I sank into the porch chair, the wood cool beneath my palms. The yard blurred. That's not all, she continued. Your wife left a trust, one she never told your son about. My throat tightened. A trust. Yes, she named you sole beneficiary and trustee. Another pause, gentler now. Your son is not entitled to a single dollar. I closed my eyes. I could almost hear my wife's voice, soft, steady, always prepared. Even in death, she was protecting me. The night passed without sleep. Dawn brought police cars and murmured conversations on the lawn. My son arrived soon after, furious, pale, shouting about misunderstandings and family loyalty. His wife stood back, arms crossed, eyes calculating. I stood on the porch while officers explained the charges: fraud, identity misuse, illegal sale of property. He looked at me then, really looked at me, fear cracking through his arrogance. Dad, he said, voice breaking, please, I was going to pay you back. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. You sold my home for a vacation, I said, and gave me 1 day to disappear. They took him away. The house stayed. In the weeks that followed, the silence returned, but it felt different now, lighter. I met with lawyers, signed papers, reclaimed what was mine. I planted new flowers in the yard, turning soil that smelled rich and alive. Neighbors stopped by with casseroles and quiet support. Some shook their heads in disbelief, others squeezed my hand without words. I still love my son. That doesn't vanish overnight. Love is stubborn, but love doesn't mean blindness, and family doesn't mean surrender. Some evenings, I sit on the porch swing and listen to the wind move through the trees. The house creaks gently, like it's breathing with me. I think of boundaries learned too late, of trust given too freely, of dignity reclaimed inch by inch. The house is still mine. And so is my future.